Right now, as you read these words, your brain is being subtly rewired. Every scroll, every click, every pause is being tracked, analyzed, and used to predict your next move. You think you're in control of your decisions, but the truth is far more unsettling. Welcome to the age of invisible manipulation, where billion-dollar algorithms know you better than you know yourself. The puppet masters behind your screen. Every morning, you wake up and reach for your phone. Within seconds, you're pulled into a digital vortex designed specifically for you. The content isn't random, it's a carefully crafted psychological weapon engineered to capture and monetize your attention. TikTok's algorithm doesn't just show you videos. It performs real-time brain surgery on your dopamine system. Each swipe delivers a micro-hit of pleasure, creating an addiction loop so powerful that users spend an average of 95 minutes daily on the platform. The Chinese-owned company has perfected what neuroscientists call intermittent variable reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes gambling so addictive. But TikTok is just the beginning. Instagram's infinite scroll feature was literally designed by former casino architects who understood how to keep people glued to slot machines. The pull-to-refresh motion mimics the arm of a slot machine, triggering the same neurological pathways that create compulsive gambling behavior. Netflix takes a different approach but achieves the same result. Their autoplay feature wasn't created for your convenience. It exploits your brain's default mode network, the neural system responsible for making decisions. By removing the decision point between episodes, Netflix hijacks your executive function, turning conscious choice into unconscious consumption. The neuroscience of digital addiction. Your brain wasn't designed for the modern digital world. Evolution crafted your neural circuits over millions of years to respond to immediate threats and rewards in small hunter-gatherer communities. Tech companies exploit these ancient systems with surgical precision. When you receive a like, comment, or notification, your brain releases dopamine, the same neurotransmitter involved in cocaine addiction. But here's the sinister part. The uncertainty of when the next hit will come makes the addiction stronger. Psychologists call this the variable ratio reinforcement schedule, and it's the most powerful form of behavioral conditioning known to. SCINCE. Dr. Anna Lemke, a psychiatry professor at Stanford, discovered that digital dopamine hits are creating a generation of people with chronically depleted baseline dopamine levels. This means you need increasingly stimulating content just to feel normal. A textbook definition of addiction. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes during waking hours. Each check triggers a stress response in your amygdala, flooding your system with cortisol. You're literally living in a state of chronic stress and you don't even realize it. The art of nudging, how your choices aren't really yours. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler won the Nobel Prize for his research on nudging, the practice of subtly influencing behavior without restricting choices. What he discovered in academic settings, tech companies weaponized at scale. Every app on your phone uses nudge psychology. The red notification badges trigger your brain's threat detection system, making it impossible to ignore. The positioning of buttons, the wording of options, even the colors of interfaces are carefully calibrated to guide your behavior in predetermined directions. Amazon's one-click purchasing isn't just convenient, it's a nudge that bypasses your rational decision-making process. By removing friction from the buying process, Amazon increased impulse purchases by 400%. They literally redesigned the shopping experience to short-circuit your brain's natural hesitation before spending money. Dating apps like Tinder use a particularly insidious form of nudging called scarcity manipulation. The swipe mechanism creates artificial urgency. If you don't act now, this person might disappear forever. This triggers your brain's loss aversion bias, making you more likely to engage even when you're not genuinely interested. Google search suggestions don't just predict what you're looking for, they shape what you think about. Studies show that autocomplete suggestions can influence political opinions, purchasing decisions, and even career choices. The company that controls search controls thought itself. gaslighting on a global scale. Gaslighting, making someone question their own perception of reality, isn't just a tactic used by abusive partners. It's now the business model of the internet. Social media platforms constantly adjust your feed based on engagement metrics, showing you increasingly extreme content to provoke strong reactions. Over time, this creates a distorted view of reality, where outrage seems normal and nuanced thinking disappears. Facebook single quote as internal research revealed by whistleblower Frances Haugen showed that the platform's algorithm actively promotes divisive content because it generates more engagement. The company knew that their system was radicalizing users and damaging mental health, but the profit motive was stronger than ethical concerns. YouTube's recommendation algorithm, even more aggressive. The platform's AI system is designed to maximize watch time, which means it progressively suggests more extreme content to keep you engaged. A study by Mozilla found that starting with innocuous videos, the algorithm could lead users to conspiracy theories and extremist content in just a few clicks. This isn't accidental. These platforms use what psychologists call confirmation bias exploitation. They feed you information that confirms your existing beliefs while gradually shifting the boundaries of what seems reasonable. Before you know it, you're living in a completely different reality than your neighbors, friends, or family members. The echo chamber effect. How your reality becomes a price. Echo chambers aren't just about politics, they shape every aspect of your worldview. The algorithmic curation of information creates what researchers call filter bubbles, where you only see information that confirms your existing beliefs and preferences. This has profound psychological consequences. When your information diet consists only of validating content, your brain's critical thinking muscles atrophy. You lose the ability to process conflicting information or consider alternative perspectives. Researchers at MIT found that people living in strong echo chambers showed measurable changes in brain structure, particularly in regions responsible for empathy and perspective taking. The business model drives this isolation. Platforms make money by keeping you engaged, and nothing is more engaging than content that makes you feel smart, justified, and superior. Challenging information that might make you think critically is bad for business. Spotify's music recommendations work the same way. The algorithm doesn't introduce you to new genres that might expand your musical tastes. It feeds you increasingly similar songs that keep you in a comfortable sonic bubble. Over time, your musical preferences become narrower, not broader. Even shopping websites create echo chambers. Amazon's recommendation engine creates what psychologists call choice architecture, a curated environment that makes certain decisions seem obvious while hiding alternatives. You think you're making free choices, but you're actually choosing from a pre-selected menu designed to maximize profit. FOMO, the fear that's rewiring your brain, fear of missing out, isn't just a millennial phrase. It's a neurological condition created by social media platforms to keep you constantly engaged. FOMO activates your brain's survival circuits, the same neural pathways that kept your ancestors alive in dangerous environments. Instagram stories, Snapchat streaks, and Twitter's trending topics all exploit FOMO psychology. These features create artificial urgency and social pressure, making you feel like you'll be left behind if you don't constantly check in. The psychological impact is devastating. Studies show that heavy social media users exhibit symptoms similar to withdrawal experienced by drug addicts when they're disconnected. Their cortisol levels spike, their heart rates increase, and they experience genuine anxiety and depression. LinkedIn weaponizes professional FOMO, constantly showing you updates about your network's achievements. This creates a comparison trap where your actual life feels inadequate compared to the curated highlights of others. The platform profits from your insecurity by selling you courses, premium features, and networking opportunities to catch up. The influence industrial complex. When manipulation becomes entertainment, rise of influencer culture represents a new form of psychological manipulation disguised as entertainment. Figures like Andrew Tate don't just share opinions, They use sophisticated persuasion techniques developed by cult leaders and military propagandists. Tate's content follows what psychologists call the authority scarcity social proof formula. He presents himself as an unquestionable authority, creates artificial scarcity around his teachings, and manufactures social proof through coordinated online campaigns. His followers don't just agree with his ideas, they adopt his entire worldview and identity. This isn't accidental. Tate openly discusses using psychological manipulation techniques, including what he calls the Matrix, a comprehensive system for controlling how his audience thinks about relationships, success, and masculinity. His business model literally depends on psychologically manipulating young men into buying his products and spreading his message. The same techniques appear across the influencer landscape. Beauty influencers use body dysmorphia triggers to sell products. Fitness influencers exploit body image insecurities. Financial influencers prey on economic anxiety and dreams of easy wealth. These aren't just marketing tactics, they're psychological weapons designed to bypass your rational mind and trigger emotional purchasing decisions. Elon Musk, the master of manufactured reality. Elon Musk represents perhaps the most sophisticated example of modern influence manipulation. His Twitter presence isn't random. It's a carefully orchestrated campaign to shape public perception and market dynamics. Musk uses what psychologists call strategic authenticity, appearing spontaneous and genuine while actually following a calculated playbook. His seemingly off-the-cuff tweets about cryptocurrency, stock prices, and political issues move markets worth billions of dollars. This isn't coincidence, it's weaponized influence. His acquisition of Twitter Now X represents the ultimate evolution of media manipulation. By controlling one of the world's primary information platforms, Musk can literally shape reality. For millions of users, changes to the algorithm, verification system, and content moderation policies aren't just business decisions. They're tools for psychological influence on a global scale. The free speech absolutist persona is itself a form of manipulation, using philosophical ideals to justify business decisions that increase his power and wealth. By framing censorship concerns in moral terms, Musk deflects attention from the actual mechanisms of influence and control he's implementing. The advertising apocalypse, how marketers hijacked your subconscious. Modern advertising goes far beyond selling products. It's a comprehensive assault on your psychological autonomy. Companies now use neuroscience, behavioral psychology, and artificial intelligence to bypass your conscious mind entirely. Neuromarketing uses brain imaging technology to identify the exact neural triggers that drive purchasing decisions. Companies like Coca-Cola and McDonald's spend millions on fMRI studies to understand how their marketing affects your brain at the cellular level. They're not trying to convince you logically. They're directly manipulating your neural pathways. Retargeting ads use what psychologists call mere exposure effect. You become more likely to buy something simply because you've seen it repeatedly. The ads follow you across websites, creating an illusion of coincidence and relevance that's actually algorithmic stalking. Dynamic pricing algorithms adjust costs in real time based on your psychological profile. If the system detects you're price sensitive, you see lower prices. If you seem willing to pay more, prices increase. You're not shopping in a fair marketplace. You're navigating a psychological maze designed to extract maximum profit from your specific vulnerabilities. Location-based advertising is even more invasive. Your phone tracks your physical movements and serves ads based on where you've been, where you're going, and how long you spend in different locations. If you linger outside a store, you might receive a discount coupon. If you visit a competitor, you'll see targeted ads trying to win you back. Black Mirror becomes reality, the gamification of human behavior dystopian scenarios depicted in Black Mirror aren't science fiction, they're documentaries of our current reality. The episode Nosedive, where social credit scores determine life opportunities, is already being implemented in China and subtly rolled out in Western democracies through algorithmic decision-making. Your credit score, employment prospects, insurance, rates, and even dating opportunities are increasingly determined by algorithms that analyze your digital behavior. These systems don't just predict your future actions, they shape them by limiting your options based on statistical models. Uber's surge pricing isn't just supply and demand, it's behavioral manipulation designed to change your travel patterns and extract maximum profit during vulnerable moments. When you're stranded and desperate, the algorithm detects your desperation and charges accordingly. Social media platforms now use what game designers call variable ratio reinforcement schedules, the same psychological principles that make slot machines addictive. Likes, comments, and shares are distributed unpredictably to maximize engagement and create psychological dependence. Dating apps have gamified human relationships, turning love into a slot machine where each swipe might deliver the jackpot of romantic connection. This reduces complex human relationships to simple binary choices, fundamentally changing how we think about compatibility and attraction. The resistance, protecting your mind in the digital age. Understanding manipulation is the first step toward freedom, but knowledge alone isn't enough. You need practical strategies to reclaim your psychological autonomy. Digital detox isn't just trendy, it's medically necessary. Studies show that even brief periods without digital stimulation allow your dopamine receptors to recover and your attention span to rebuild. Try leaving your phone in another room for just 1 hour daily. Change your notification settings immediately. Turn off all non-essential alerts, remove red notification badges, and disable autoplay on all platforms. These simple changes can reduce your daily phone checks by up to 40%. Practice friction addition, deliberately make impulsive actions more difficult. Delete shopping apps, log out of social media accounts, and use website blockers during focused work time. If you want to make a purchase or check social media, you'll have to take multiple deliberate steps, giving your rational mind time to intervene. Diversify your information sources and actively seek out content that challenges your existing beliefs. Follow people you disagree with, read publications from different political perspectives, and regularly fact-check information before sharing it. Most importantly, remember that your attention is your most valuable resource. Every company on the internet is trying to steal it, package it, and sell it to the highest bidder. Guard it jealously, spend it consciously, and never forget that in the attention economy, you are both the product and the customer. The dark side of personalization. How AI knows you better than you know yourself. Your digital footprint creates a psychological profile more detailed than any therapy session. Every click, pause, scroll speed, and even the time you spend looking at specific words builds a comprehensive map of your mind. Companies like Google and Meta have collected so much data about you that their algorithms can predict your behavior with 95% accuracy, often better than your closest friends and family. This isn't just about targeted advertising anymore. It's about behavioral prediction and modification on a scale never before seen in human history. Amazon's recommendation engine doesn't just suggest products you might like, it identifies the exact psychological moment when you're most vulnerable to making impulse purchases, then strikes with surgical precision. Netflix's algorithm knows when you're sad, angry, lonely, or stressed based on your viewing patterns. It can predict relationship breakups, job changes, and even mental health crises before you're consciously aware of them yourself. This information isn't just used for content recommendations, it's sold to insurance companies, employers, and political organizations who use it to make decisions about your life without your knowledge or consent. Spotify doesn't just track what music you listen to, it analyzes the emotional patterns in your listening habits to determine your psychological state in real time. During periods of depression, you'll receive ads for therapy apps and self-help books. During manic episodes, you'll see promotions for impulsive purchases and high-risk investments. The most terrifying aspect is that this manipulation is invisible. You never see the content you don't receive, the opportunities you're not shown, or the decisions made about you based on algorithmic analysis of your digital behavior. The attention merchants, how your focus became the world's most valuable commodity. Attention isn't just being captured, it's being harvested, processed, and sold like a natural resource. Tech companies have created what economists call an attention economy, where human focus is strip-mined and monetized at industrial scale. The average American encounters over 5,000 advertisements per day, compared to just 500 in the 1970s. This isn't just information overload. It's cognitive warfare designed to overwhelm your decision-making capacity and make you more susceptible to influence. TikTok's For You page uses machine learning to identify the exact type of content that triggers your brain's reward system. The algorithm performs thousands of micro-experiments on your attention every day, testing different videos, sounds, and editing techniques to find the perfect combination that will keep you scrolling. But the real manipulation happens in the spaces between content. The platform uses what neuroscientists call anticipatory anxiety, the fear of what you might be missing, to keep you engaged during loading times and transitions. Even the brief moments of boredom become psychological, hooks that pull you deeper into the platform. Instagram's infinite scroll was designed by BJ Fogg, a Stanford researcher who developed the persuasive design framework now used by every major social media platform. Fogg's research showed that removing natural stopping points makes users lose track of time and consume content compulsively. The feature wasn't created for user experience, it was weaponized to create behavioral addiction. YouTube's autoplay feature generates over 70% of total watch time on the platform. This means that most of what you watch on YouTube isn't content you chose. It's content chosen for you by an algorithm designed to maximize advertising revenue. You think you're making decisions about your entertainment, but you're actually being led through a carefully orchestrated psychological journey. The social validation trap. How likes and shares rewired human psychology. Social media didn't just change how we communicate, it fundamentally altered the neurochemistry of human social behavior. The like, share, and comment systems exploit our deepest evolutionary drives for social acceptance and status, creating artificial social hierarchies based on algorithmic engagement rather than genuine human connection. Research by Dr. Mauricio Delgado at Rutgers University found that receiving social media validation activates the same brain regions as winning money or using addictive drugs. But the psychological impact goes deeper than simple pleasure responses. Social media metrics become external regulators of self-worth, creating a generation of people who literally cannot feel good about themselves without digital validation. The comparison trap is particularly insidious. Platforms deliberately show you content from people who appear more successful, attractive, or happy than you to trigger feelings of inadequacy and social anxiety. This isn't accidental. Research shows that mildly negative emotional states increase engagement and time spent on platforms. Facebook's research revealed that users who felt worse about themselves after using the platform actually spent more time scrolling and clicking on ads. The company's internal motto was meaningful social interactions, but their business model depended on creating meaningless, anxiety-inducing social comparisons. Instagram's impact on mental health is so severe that internal company research showed teenage girls experience increased rates of depression, eating disorders, and suicidal ideation directly linked to platform usage. Despite knowing this, the company continued optimizing for engagement rather than user well-being. Snapchat. Streaks create artificial social obligations that mirror the psychological patterns of abusive relationships. Users feel genuine anxiety about maintaining streaks, even when the underlying friendships are shallow or non-existent. The feature transforms casual social connections into sources of chronic stress and obligation. The dopamine economy. How tech companies became digital drug dealers. Silicon Valley executives openly discuss creating dopamine hits and engagement loops using language borrowed directly from addiction medicine. This isn't metaphorical. These companies employ teams of neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists to make their products as addictive as possible. Sean Parker, Facebook's founding president, admitted that the platform was designed to exploit a vulnerability in human psychology by creating short-term, dopamine-driven feedback loops. He described the company's approach as literally changing your relationship with society, with each other. The notification system is the most sophisticated addiction mechanism ever created. Random, unpredictable alerts trigger your brain's novelty-seeking circuits while creating what psychologists call continuous partial attention, a state of chronic distraction that prevents deep thinking and emotional processing. Apple's Screen Time feature, ironically, was created because company executives became concerned about their own children's device usage. The people designing these systems understand their addictive potential so well that they protect their own families while continuing to exploit everyone else's psychological vulnerabilities. Gaming apps use what researchers call dark patterns, interface design elements specifically created to confuse, mislead, or manipulate users into unwanted actions. Candy Crush Saga generates over $4 million daily by using artificial scarcity, loss aversion, and what psychologists call near-miss programming to encourage spending on in-app purchases. Dating apps like Tinder and Bumble use intermittent variable reinforcement, the most addictive form of behavioral conditioning, to keep users constantly seeking the next potential match. The swipe mechanism creates a slot machine-like experience where each action might deliver the reward of romantic connection, making the apps psychologically irresistible even when they consistently fail to produce meaningful relationships. The polarization machine. How algorithms are tearing society apart. Social media platforms don't just reflect political divisions, they actively create and amplify them for profit. The business model of engagement-driven platforms requires conflict, controversy, and outrage because these emotions generate the strongest user responses. Facebook's internal research showed that angry reactions were weighted 5 times higher than likes in their algorithm, meaning that content designed to make people furious was promoted above content that made them happy. The platform literally trained users to be angry by rewarding anger-inducing posts with greater visibility. YouTube's recommendation algorithm creates what researchers call radicalization pathways, viewing sequences that gradually expose users to increasingly extreme content. Starting with mainstream political content, the algorithm can lead viewers to conspiracy theories, extremist ideologies, and dangerous misinformation in just a few hours of viewing. This isn't accidental. The algorithm optimizes for engagement, and nothing is more engaging than content that confirms your existing beliefs while making you angry at people who disagree. Moderate, nuanced content that encourages critical thinking is bad for business because it doesn't generate strong emotional responses. Twitter's trending topics algorithm deliberately amplifies divisive content during major news events, creating artificial consensus around controversial viewpoints. The platform's design rewards quick, emotional responses over thoughtful analysis, fundamentally changing how society processes important information. The result is what researchers call effective polarization. People on different sides of political issues don't just disagree with each other's ideas, they viscerally hate each other as human beings. This emotional polarization makes democratic compromise impossible and tears apart families, friendships, and communities. The surveillance capitalism revolution. Your data as their provide a very digital interaction you make is recorded, analyzed, and sold to the highest bidder. This isn't just about privacy violations, it's about the complete transformation of human experience into extractable economic value. Google processes over 8.5 billion searches daily, creating the most comprehensive record of human curiosity, desire, and anxiety ever assembled. This data reveals intimate details about your health, relationships, financial situation, political beliefs, and deepest fears. The company doesn't just provide search results, it shapes what questions you think to ask. Amazon Alexa doesn't just respond to your commands, it continuously listens to your conversations, mapping your relationships, interests, and daily routines. The device has been used as evidence in criminal trials, divorce proceedings, and insurance disputes. Your private conversations have become corporate surveillance data, Smart TVs from companies like Samsung and LG track everything you watch, including content from other devices connected to your television. This viewing data is sold to advertisers, political organizations, and data brokers who use it to build comprehensive profiles of your interests, beliefs, and psychological vulnerabilities. Your smartphone's accelerometer data can reveal information about your mental health, sleep patterns, and even your walking gait. Insurance companies use this information to adjust your premiums, employers use it to evaluate your productivity, and marketers use it to time their psychological manipulation. Campaigns. Credit card companies track your purchases to predict major life events like divorce, job loss, or health crises. This information is sold to companies that then target you with predatory loans, expensive medical treatments, or other products designed to exploit your vulnerable psychological state. The deepfake democracy, when reality becomes negotiably artificial. Intelligence has made it possible to create completely convincing fake videos, audio recordings, and written content at scale. This technology isn't just changing how we consume media, it's destroying our ability to distinguish between truth and manipulation. Deepfake technology can now create videos of anyone saying anything with just a few minutes of source material. Political candidates can be made to appear supporting positions they oppose, celebrities can be shown in compromising situations, and ordinary people can be framed for crimes they never committed. But the real danger isn't fake content, it's the liar's dividend effect. When people know that any content could be fake, they stop believing anything that challenges their existing worldview. Truth becomes a matter of political preference, rather than empirical reality. AI-generated text is becoming so sophisticated that it can mimic individual writing styles with perfect accuracy. Soon, it will be impossible to tell whether any online content was created by humans or algorithms. Every review, comment, and social media post could be artificial, designed to influence your behavior in ways you can't detect. Voice cloning technology can replicate anyone's speech patterns using just a few minutes of audio. Phone scams using fake voices of family members are becoming increasingly common, exploiting our emotional bonds for financial fraud. The psychological impact is devastating. When reality becomes negotiable, society loses its shared foundation for making collective decisions. Democracy requires a common understanding of basic facts, but AI manipulation is making shared truth impossible. The future of influence. What's coming next? Artificial intelligence is making psychological manipulation exponentially more sophisticated. ChatGPT and similar systems can generate personalized, persuasive content tailored to your specific psychological profile. Soon, every piece of content you encounter online will be dynamically generated to maximize its influence on your specific vulnerabilities. Virtual and augmented reality will create even more immersive manipulation environments. When the line between digital and physical reality disappears, the potential for psychological influence becomes unlimited. Imagine advertisements that appear as part of your physical environment, or social interactions that seem real but are actually AI-generated manipulation campaigns. Brain-computer interfaces, currently in development by companies like Neuralink, represent the final frontier of mental manipulation. When direct neural connection becomes possible, the boundary between your thoughts and external influence will completely dissolve. Your emotions, memories, and decisions could be directly manipulated without your conscious awareness. Predictive algorithms are becoming so sophisticated that they can anticipate your behavior weeks or months in advance. Companies will soon be able to manipulate your decision-making process before you're even aware that a decision needs to be made. Your future choices will be shaped by psychological interventions deployed in your past. The question isn't whether this technology will be used for manipulation, it's whether you'll be prepared to recognize and resist it when human psychology is completely outmatched by artificial intelligence designed specifically to exploit your mental vulnerabilities. Conclusion: the choice is still yours for now. Every moment you spend Reading this article, algorithms are analyzing your behavior patterns, learning your preferences, and preparing the next wave of targeted influence. The manipulation never stops. It only becomes more sophisticated, but awareness creates possibility. Now that you understand the mechanisms of influence, you can begin to recognize them in your daily life. You can make conscious choices about where you spend your attention, what information you consume, and how you engage with digital platforms. The war for your mind is real, and it's happening right now. The weapons are invisible, the battlefield is everywhere, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Your thoughts, decisions, and ultimately your life are the prize. The choice between psychological freedom and digital slavery is still yours to make, but only if you act now, before the algorithms get even smarter, before the manipulation becomes even more invisible, and before your capacity for independent thought disappears entirely. Your mind is under attack. The question is, will you defend it?